You're about to hear one of the realest conversations we've ever had on Candid Conversations with Dr. Kelly. This week, I'm joined by the incredible Angela Gentile, a bold voice who's not afraid to challenge the norms, speak her truth, and get vulnerable. We're talking career pressure, choosing a child-free life, politics, racism, trauma, healing, learning to say no, and rebuilding after loss. Angela holds nothing back, and this episode is a must listen. So without further ado, let's get candid. Welcome to another episode of Candid Konversations. I have the amazing Angela Gentile here, and she is just phenomenal. I can't wait to get into this conversation with her. So Angela is a fantastic social media person. She has blown up and gone viral talking about a lot of mental health topics that are important to me that I resonate with. And we're going to get into it today. So we are kind of shifting in this season to talking more about entrepreneurship and mental health and really talking about the total brain. And Angela and I align on a lot of things with mental health and putting yourself first and therapy and the big controversial topic of a child-free existence and what that means and the backlash that you can experience from that. So we're going to get into all of that. But without further ado, I would love for Angela to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to be.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad. Like immediate soul sisters on social media. Like immediate. I was like, that's my girl. I love her. So thank you for just letting me come on. And I can swear. I forgot to ask you that.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, and let me talk shit. Thank you. Yeah, it's so funny hearing you say like social media, like I'm an influencer of some sort. Like that's a wild for me to wrap my head around because I'm just me and I'm just a regular woman with a big mouth who has never shut up. And it's just like today that people are starting to be like, I like what you're saying, girl.
All these years later, like I've
Yeah.
been doing this.
Yeah, and I think it was after the, most recent election where I got a little bit more heavy-footed on my stance because it felt more important to me as a single child-free elder millennial. Like I'm pushing very middle age right now, and I'm very proud of that. And it felt right in that moment to really speak on it. And I have a platform, and I'm like, why not? So that's really like what I'm passionate about is making sure, not being child free necessarily, but making sure that people know that they have discernment and the ability to choose and live a life that they love beyond this pressure and status quo from the societal patriarchal supremacist norms that are foundational, like societal norms are built on. Like I don't necessarily believe that that's the way unless you want it. But I think sometimes it's great to just have a dialogue around, what else is there? And does that work for me? You know what I mean? So that's really like what I stand for. And I just want people to live a life that they love because nobody gets out of this alive. Not one of us. So if you're not living it the way that you want and living the shit out of it, what are we doing? Why are we here?
Absolutely. That aligns with something that I just heard on social media where someone said like, we die at the end of this.
This
like,
is it.
All
This
of
is
the
like guaranteed.
sacrifice, the pain, like the good stuff, like live your life to the fullest. We die at the end of this. And obviously I agree, but like, yes, live your life to the fullest and also do what makes you happy. And when you just said, if that's what you want.
Yeah, I love that.
I think it's really huge for people to really get centered and learn, what do I want? What does make me happy? Because from inception, from birth, we are kind of taught and conditioned for what it is that we want. And we're going to get into that when we get to the child-free part of it. But I want people to know more about your background because you appeared and you are an influencer. Whether
So
you
funny.
like it or
That's
not,
so funny.
which
But
is hard for our millennial brains to wrap around that because we were around when there was none of this.
yeah, like it's
I know, but you took, I think, one of the traditional millennial career approaches, and you
Sure
started
did.
in education. So could you start from
Yeah.
the beginning?
Yeah. It seems like a million years ago. So I was a teacher. I taught high school for 11 years and, taught many iterations of some form of formal education in this country for about 15 years. And growing up, like looking back on as someone who taught high school, I would have never put the student like me down that path ever. I don't know who was like, girl, just go be a teacher. But again, it was the mid 90s. And I did not have any examples of women doing anything else other than motherhood, teaching, nursing, caretaking. I wanted to be a lawyer. I want to be Elle Woods before Elle Woods was a thing. And I just didn't know how to do that. And nobody around me. I'm the very first woman in my family to go to college. I'm the very first woman in my family to have a stock portfolio. I am the very first woman in my family to live alone. I am the very first woman in my family to not have kids. You understand what I'm saying? So this is like, there was not a lot of representation of me in my life at that time. And I just got kind of funneled into that caretaking role. And I remember sitting in my guidance counselor's office at 17. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. Because who does when you're 17? Like my life like is very much about perception as like what it appears to me. I have no perspective on anything or options or other ways of living. And I'm just like, I don't know what I want to do. I wanted to get a Volkswagen van life before van life. And I just wanted to like travel across country and like be free. Like that's really what I wanted to do. And everyone was like, shut up, you're in the honor society, you're like president of your class, like you're going to college. And I was like, I don't know. So, but I didn't know that I could say no. I didn't know that I had other options. I didn't know that I could like fully choose for myself. I felt it, but I didn't know how that worked. So I'm sitting in her office and I'm like, I don't know what I want. And she's like, well, you should just be a teacher. You're really good with people. You should be a teacher. And again, if you hear me speak now as I fully step into myself, like I was more that way when I was 17 than I was in my 20s. I'm more myself now. Like that was who I am now is very representative of who I was in high school. I was loud, but I kind of got pushed into a different role in my late teens, early 20s as I went to college. But she was like, you should be a teacher because you're good with people and it gives you great mother's hours. So at 17 years old, my guidance counselor was already planning my life as a mom, my life as a woman, mother's hours. Like you
I've
get
never
to,
even heard of that.
oh yeah. So that, right? Like you get to drop your kids off. You have the same schedule as your kids, right? You drop your kids off at school, you go to work, school's over, you pick your kids up. And you know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't need to put your kids in daycare, be away from your kids. And like looking back on it now, Mrs. Alex, did you ask any of the like boys who came into your office? Did you tell any of them that that'll be good father's hours? Or did you tell like Danny and Steven that they get to be lawyers because they're men? You know, it was tough. And that was 26 years ago. So it's not like too far off where this is some like first wave of like women's feminism. Like this was 25 years ago. So yeah, I got funneled into that and I ended up being a teacher and I liked it. I loved the kids. I loved like, and who I was I was a great teacher, a really shitty employee. Different. Let's just like differentiate that. Um, but I love the kids and I loved kind of teaching them about like how things really worked. I was like, shut the door, we're talking shit. I was like, let me tell you about the media. Let me tell you about like propaganda. And like that was the best part of it. And I'm still really close to a lot of my students. I think I will forever be Miss G, you know? But it got to a point where it was so oppressive and it was dimming my sparkle and really suffocating my big personality and my creativity. And I felt like I needed to shut the fuck up and be some version of a school marm You know, like I couldn't dress a certain way. I couldn't be loud. I couldn't be bold. I had to like tone it down because I was too much. Do you know what I'm saying?
Don't be you.
Yeah, don't be you. Don't be you. Be a caricature of who a teacher should be. And I think in my late 20s, it really started to, that's when it started to rub. So I think my first 5 years or so, I was like cool performing because that's all I knew how to do was just like perform and pretend to be something that I wasn't.
So they started this early for you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
Wow.
mean, right? Like I was great in school. I was great in school and I did all the things that people told me to do. I went to school to be this because someone told me that I should do it. Right? Like I was great at following what people wanted me to do. I was great at abandoning myself. Let me rephrase that. I was great at abandoning what my instinct and what my calling was
I'm,
to do.
I'm hearing a fellow millennial people pleaser.
Oh, millennial deference? Yeah. Yeah.
Recovering people pleaser. Like it takes effort, people, to
Listen.
decondition yourself from what you have been conditioned. Like all of this guiding and societal pressures. There was no like, well, what do you want to do? What do you like?
Oh,
What are you
please.
passionate about? It's like, oh, be
They
a
asked me
teacher.
that.
Let's
Did
get you
anybody
into
ask you what you wanted? Did anybody give a shit? Like what lit you up or what I tried to tell people I wanted to be in a van and they were like, shut up. Don't like don't do that.
I
Yeah,
didn't even get a conversation.
yeah, no, nobody did. Nobody did. It was like, this is what I want for you, and this is how I see your life going. I had a child so that you could please me. um, yeah, and again, that millennial deference, let's just put a pin in that. That's real. I think we were raised in a society, right? Women were passing this information down, and I think a lot of this shut up, be nice, this placation came out of survival. It came out of survival
Trauma.
against as a
Trauma.
yeah, trauma. You don't have rights, you don't have options, you don't have a way to support yourself, you're not safe. So like if you could just get a man and get married and you'll be okay and just keep him happy and you'll be safe. And I know, no shade to my family, I know all of that is unconscious. I know that teaching is unconscious. But then when it comes to us, we're the ones who actually like had opportunities to get bank accounts. We're the ones who had opportunities to play sports. We're the ones who had opportunities to go to college. So the whole world now becomes a lot bigger for us. But we're stuck with outdated operating systems in a world that is like asking us and calling us to expand and learn, but our toolbox is that of like 1946, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are a lot of women now that are big fish in these small ponds, and the the message to those women or women like us is, couldn't you just be a little smaller so you could fit? Versus how can
Yeah,
we help and nurture that so that you can continue to grow and thrive? And so that
that part.
people pleasing is, a daily struggle of like, that is why I'm working on this book called Fuck Society, Do What Makes You Happy, because it's really just that. Like,
Yeah.
fuck that. Like, oh, do this thing on this, conveyor belt of how you can be just like everybody else and be quiet and procreate and raise these children and take care of your husband. And then, you've got these subgroups that are like the divorcees. And it's just, what if you
Yeah.
just started with, what do I want? What makes me
Yeah.
happy? And
Isn't that
it's,
isn't that the question?
yeah, and I think that for our generation, for millennials, it's like we were not given that opportunity. I think about my childhood and how like every day was packed with like extracurriculars, whether it was golf lessons, tennis lessons, horseback riding, singing lessons, flute, piano, like just all the things. And it's like I didn't have time to
Yeah.
figure out what was just something that I enjoyed doing until I got older. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's why I'm hearing your content is just so like freeing, where it's like after all these years.
I'm saying it, but it's true. I mean, first of all, I love that you were involved in like activities. Like my please, we didn't have like no one had any of that for like, we didn't do any of that, you know? Um, but yeah, I'm happy to speak on it. I think just because I'm a little older, like I'm on the tail end beginning of millennials and tail end of Gen X. So I'm right on that cusp. So I think maybe I'm just a couple years older and just know a little bit more by sheer time on this earth. So if I have something that I see and I can turn around and like give it back to the people who are kind of coming up, like I'm happy to help in that way, because you don't have to do what I did, you know? You don't have to do what I did.
Exactly. And excuse me, I'm very much a person who can see someone else's experience and then think, well, if it was like
Yes.
that for them, then I can do it differently, or even go to that person. So I am a millennial like you, but my cousins that I'm close to, or my line sisters, like I have more Gen X people around me to who I can learn from their experience and
Yeah.
how things were for them. And I also think that Gen X and millennial, we very much overlap
We
in our
overlap.
experience,
Yeah.
especially with like trauma and the people pleasing and societal norms and what you should be doing. And I
Yeah.
also think that a lot of Gen X are also on the therapy, I don't want to say bandwagon, but the therapy movement, to where they're not afraid to, what do you think? Not all Gen X? Well, the
Uh-uh.
Gen X around me, I should say. What's your experience with that?
No, I mean, anecdotally, I think that they are more, again, like if we compartmentalize a lot of these generations, I think there's like between the transitions is where it's gray. So I think between like Gen X and boomers,
Mhm.
right? Like there's some overlap there, but if you're like hard in the middle, you're that's who you are. Right? I think the Gen Xers that are like vacillating around that millennial transition are more prone to therapy. But if you're like mid 50s and a Gen Xer, I think that's who you are, and you're not interested in therapy. You're the Make America Great Again, you know? That's where you are. So,
Okay, yeah, with the
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Sorry
I
about
can see
that.
that with the 50s.
Yeah, like
I
I
think
think
I think that's great, like the gray area. Yeah, that Gen X gray area. But
yeah,
you're right. If it's like solid in the middle,
I
probably
don't
not.
think they're moving. I
Yeah,
don't think they're moving.
probably not calling up the therapist.
Yeah, I think it's like, what do you mean? This is just how it is. Like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And it's like,
Suck it up.
yeah, like, because again, I just think it's like what opportunities and what a new kind of ideas were again. Let me back up. As millennials, I think we were the ones who were constantly inundated with new shit all the time. As soon as we learned something, it was a new way of doing it immediately, like 6 months at a time, right? And I think not much has changed from like the turn of the century in the 1900s to like 1980. Like it was the same lifestyle, right? You'd like leave your house, ride your bikes, come home, mom would cook. That life is like that was the same. We're the ones who are like constantly changing. Our lives and beyond is no longer doesn't really match that. Kids don't ride their bikes. Kids don't even walk to school. Kids can't even leave the building without a parent, right? There's no more like free range parenting. Like you don't have that sense of independence anymore. The sense of technology, that didn't start until us. So I think there hasn't been much change up until us. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I think
I am not a sociologist. I am not an anthropologist. I am just living
a
it.
woman
So,
talking about her lived experience.
yeah, God forbid. So, I just want to like point that out. But I don't know, maybe there's some truth in that. Maybe there is some statistical evidence to back that up, and maybe there is some scholarly research that's done on it. But I'm just talking out my mouth of what I experienced, you know?
Yeah, and our lived experience, I think that should speak for and stand for a lot. I think that millennials are kind of like the epitome of the pivot generation, because we
Totally,
have had to learn so much and
totally.
constantly shift and change. And also, let's not, forget to toss in all of the traumatic life and economy events that we have lived through and survived.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, like something else is happening or being thrown at us. I guess we're going to shift and figure out how to navigate this situation. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
And again, we have to fight against that outdated operating system that we were given that doesn't apply now. And again, I think there are a lot of people who are like, what do you mean? Just like stop buying coffee every day and you'll afford a house. And I'm like, I'm gonna like stop. There is absolutely, it is statistically impossible for anybody on one income to buy a house on the median average income. It's impossible. I wouldn't even qualify for a loan. I don't even make enough to afford an average $450,000 house. That's the average cost of a house. And I live in Massachusetts, and there is not one house in this entire state that is $450,000. Okay? Okay. So it's not about my saving. How much would I save a year if I didn't go for coffee every day? You know, $3,000. That's going to be my down payment on a house.
Your troubles are over.
My troubles are over, right? Fuck that. Have the coffee. You can't afford a house anyways. So just have the goddamn coffee and enjoy the little wins along the way. Okay. In this capitalistic hellscape nightmare that we live in. It's fine.
Yes. The wins along the way, I totally am for that, because when you're like, oh, like I should be saving, but it's Friday and I don't feel like cooking, it's like, are you going to force yourself to cook something when you really don't feel like it? It's been a really long week, whatever may have been going on. And it's like, well, in order to save this $8 that I would have paid for a medium pizza, like spend the $8.
$8. It's fine. That's not going to break it in the end. You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of deconditioning, right? That, you know, even just in my little story up until I was in my 20s, like just the deconditioning that takes place for us to wrap our head around, like we are allowed and we are deserving of joy. We are deserving of frivolity sometimes. Like it's okay to treat yourself. It's okay to go on vacation. It's okay to spend money. You don't have to like justify it or earn it. You earned it by existing on this earth. It is okay to experience joy. It's okay.
It's also okay to say no.
No, to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I know. I spent I called it the year of no, and that because you know you have to have your
figure out.
And I also had a year of yes, but that was like it takes time, and I called it an exercise because you know as concrete and I'm gonna stop this cold turkey and you know if you're gonna slip up again, you're going to overextend, you're going to you know agree to do something that you don't want to do. But when I call it an exercise, I feel that takes the pressure off of that like cold turkey where it's like, do this. And then, you know, if you do it again, oh, I'm a failure. I failed at this. If it's an exercise, like that gives you grace and that gives you space to be like, did it again. Next time I'll do better. And so I gave myself a year for those things to help decondition the people pleasing and all of that. So my journey to say no and do what makes you happy and what does make you happy and overextending yourself. Like sometimes I would, you know, I don't want to go to a baby shower of someone who I know is talking shit about me and doesn't have my best interest at heart. But so I'm going to give up my Saturday. I'm going to spend my money to get them a gift, make sure that it looks pretty, get the card, write something, you know, and when I really could just spend time at home watching television or decompressing and getting ready for the week, or what do I want to do versus oh I have to do this. You have to live your life, not break the rules, or excuse me, not break the law, and pay your bills. And outside of that, like you can really do what you want. But we get into this like circle, this cycle of like I have to do this, I have to pick up the kids, I have to do this, I've got a birthday party here. And it's like, what do you actually have to do outside of paying your bills and living your life? Start there. Yeah. So mine was rooted in trauma. So getting to a place of being able to break free from the traumas of a narcissistic mother and narcissistic sister. And that really, you know, even when society hears that, it's kind of like, would you only get one mother? Family is family and all this kind of shit. I'll say shit. And like, yeah, but I'm the one who is taking on the mental hits and the, you know, the time in therapy and all of that. So I know that you had something that really clicked for you, a traumatic moment.
For sure.
that brought you to like, no, like I'm gonna live my life how I want to live my life. So could you share
Yeah.
with the listeners what
Yeah.
that was?
Yeah. And I think the world will always, now that I'm more in tune with myself and I've quieted the noise and I've removed myself from the should and like everyone else's fucking interpretation of my life, when I look back, I'm like, that's the moment that I wasn't listening to change and shift my life. Because the world, there's no shortage of wake up calls, right? The world will keep tapping you and being like, psst, like, don't do that. That's not right, right? And we feel it, but we're like, it'll be fine. And we tell ourselves whatever narrative we want to tell ourselves in order to engage in this should, right? Because we think if we do this, we're going to get the outcome. But if we're not paying attention to those little pivots that the world is trying to give us and we're feeling it in our guts, we'll go through and we'll see it through and it won't feel right, maybe temporarily, but we're dishonoring ourselves time and time again. And the world will keep upping the ante, and the shit that you face in your life will be just monumentally harder, more difficult. The pull and the dissection of like where you want to go and who you're trying to be and where the world wants to take you, like that will feel almost like explosive if you're not listening to it. Because like it's the, how do I want to say this? Like the call is always coming from inside the house. And the more that you don't listen to it, it just gets louder and more intense. So eventually there will be a knockdown, drag out moment that divides your life, that blows your life up if you're not listening. And I will die on that hill and I will stand on that hill. And for me, I wasn't listening. Leave teaching, Angela. Stop being this person. You're miserable. Stop pleasing everybody. This isn't what you want. Stop doing it. I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew that this wasn't it. But I wasn't able to make the decision to get the fuck out of it until my dad died. My dad died suddenly. He dropped dead from an aneurysm. And that was the division of my life of like before and after. And that was the moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm not living. I'm not living my life. I could just, any of us, anytime, can just drop dead. What am I doing? What am I doing here? Every day, living a life that like makes me cry in the parking lot before I go into work, that makes me cry myself to sleep, that makes me question my worth, my lovability. What the fuck am I doing? And that was the moment where I started having that conversation of like, what do I want? What, not this. I know for certain that I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to be here. I don't like being in this job. I don't like being around these people. I don't like this work. I don't like how I'm spending my time, and I gotta go. And that was the moment that like shifted my life immediately. And I'm not saying that you need to have, I hope you don't have to wait until someone exits this earth and is no longer here for you to get the message that you are worthy of a life that is joyful. I have the coolest life now, and my dad isn't here to share it with me. And that's heartbreaking for me. That's heartbreaking. I also know that that was the greatest gift that he ever gave me, was to teach me how to live. And I know that that was the lesson. And that was like the best gift that a father could ever give his daughter, And I don't take that in vain. I don't take that lightly. And I make sure that from that moment out, I was like, I'm not going to do things that wreck me like this, that compromise me, that dishonor my truth and what feels right for me. I'm never going to do that again. And there have been moments where I have temporarily compromised. Like I've worked some jobs just for the money, just to pay off some bills. But for the most part, I'm always in control of that. I don't feel controlled by the situation. I feel like I am intentionally doing things in my life instead of being carried downstream by some, I don't know, stupid expectation. But yeah, I hope that you don't have to have a cataclysmic event that gives you the message that you are worthy of living a life you love. Like start listening and start having that conversation of what do I want? What feels good? Where am I in my life? Like what's happening now that I don't want? I think that's the key, because everything that you're rubbing up against is here to teach you to redirect. It's here as a gift for redirection. And you just have to kind of suss that out and start having a conversation. So yeah, that was my aha moment.
Well, through something so tragic, I mean, an aneurysm, like you said, at any time,
Anytime.
for something traumatic like that to have an outcome of such joy and you living this beautifully fulfilled life, um, hard to put a silver lining around death, especially death of a parent. But there is some silver lining in that you get to live the rest of your life with this beautiful mindset, and that you're doing this work that you're spreading that to other people so that they can have that hopefully reflective experience or moment where they too can think like, well,
Yeah.
I don't need, someone to leave this earth, like you said, but let me take a look at myself. Let me take a look in the mirror. And so much good and joy can come from that look in the mirror. And I will say, from someone who loves therapy, has been in therapy for years, um, it's not pleasant all the time. It's
Oh,
hard work
yeah.
to look at
Let
the
me
good,
be
bad, and
clear.
ugly.
Let me be clear. It's not like my dad dropped dead and the next day I was like on this pilgrimage of joy in my life. No, 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 no. No, like we're bypassing some steps. Okay. This was a deep, deep healing process for me and a deep understanding of myself that came with what I like to call an emotional yard sale. I could no longer keep in all of these feelings, all of this resentment that I had in my life because I wasn't doing what I wanted. I was so pissed off that I did what everybody said I should do and I was still fucking miserable. I had to reckon that it wasn't anybody doing it to me. There was a version of me that accepted less than what she deserved. And I had to like own that. And I had to start unpacking and like releasing everything of like, how the hell did I get here? What patterns were given to me was I indoctrinated into? What was mine to begin with? What was my grandmother's trauma that she gave to me? What operating system was given to me that was my mother's? That's not, none of that shit was even mine. None of it was mine. And I literally had to purge everything, friendships, jobs, mindsets, ways of being. And there were times where I was on my hands and knees in my house, guttural crying, like exercising demons out of me. It was lonely. It was painful, and it was the best, like, epic tragedy journey that I have ever been on in my life. And I'm still on it. I think I'll always be on it, and nothing will be as tragic as the first like opening of the earth as it was with my dad. And there have been other subsequent like fuckeries that have transpired in the 9 years that he's been gone. And each time that you go through it, you just have more skills and tools to be able to understand how you got here. And every time I've gone through something tragic, like in the past year and a half of my life, was one of the hardest journeys I've been on. It's putting to bed a lot of the patterns that I didn't even know existed because they kind of come in spurts. Things that I needed to heal around my mother wound, things I needed to heal in myself with my family and the women in my family. That's been really hard. I was homeless. I was broke. I had no money, like literally nothing. I had nothing. I sold all my shit to pay for my dog's cancer treatment who was dying. And I was like, I have nothing. I have nothing. If it was not for the grace of my friends letting me rally on their couch and putting me up in basements, I would not be here. I would not be here. And that sucked. But I had some resiliency skills and some perspective and a love for myself that helped me and guided me through that to come out on the other side being like, you can't fuck with me now. You can't fuck with me now. There's nothing that could happen to me. Like if I lose it all again, fine. I'll build it up again, just like I have, you know? And the reason I'm saying that is that it's always life's just gonna life. It's gonna life. It's never gonna be like smooth sailing. And if it is smooth sailing for you right now, congratulations, enjoy it. But you better have your seatbelt ready because whatever is coming is coming. Nobody, like, it's just impossible. That's the ebbs and the flows of the universe, you know? But I share this because I don't want to make it seem like my healing journey was like roses and rainbows. It was brutal. It was brutal. And it was the best thing I ever did to get to know myself and to understand myself and to love, honor, and respect myself was hard, but it was the most beautiful thing that I've ever given to myself as a gift. So
Beautiful. Beautiful. I totally relate to the I don't want to say ugly process, but I will say the challenging process
it's
of
ugly. It's ugly as fuck. It's gritty. That shit's gritty. It's not for the weak, man. It is
it is
not.
not.
It's not pretty. It's not pretty.
It's not for the weak, and that's why the wonderful Iyanla Van Zant, she calls it like doing your work.
Doing your work. I love
Yes.
that. Miss Ayanna, if you ever listen to this, Kelly and I want to be friends with you.
Yes.
Please.
Yes, we've been doing
And
our work.
we've
We
been
would
doing our
love
work.
to connect.
And side note, if you guys go on the OWN network and get in on Ayanla Changed My Life, that show, I think, single-handedly helped me do my work and look at the dysfunction of families, look at it through that lens of my own family. And I'm like, understood. So if you can go back and watch that show, please. Ayanla, we love you. Okay, side note, that was my tangent.
I will, yes, I will go to the OWN channel. I will go to YouTube and watch clips. I will watch entire episodes, but you're doing your work and it is work. And because I have done my work, I like you, I always feel like I will be always doing the work.
Yeah.
Someone at some point has said that you, and it may have been my therapist, when you are in a situation, it takes you twice as long to heal from whatever it is
Yes.
that you're experiencing. And so for me to get to a place at 30, I was 30 when I broke free from all of the societal pressures and just staying in abusive situations with my family. And it's going to take twice that. So I feel I will always be on a healing and accountability journey, a therapy journey where I will be doing my work because your entire brain and psyche and motivation and all of that was created by, you know, potentially a person who, you know, instilled the trauma in you. And that's going to take a lot of unpacking.
Yeah. I said what I said.
Round of applause, mic drop, all the things. Yes.
I said what I said.
Yes. And full disclosure, I've not spoken with my mother since probably 2018 or 2019.
Okay. Yeah.
And the peace of not being manipulated. And you know, it's not like here's, you know, millennial people pleaser. It's not that she's, you know, this horrible wretch of a woman, but the parts that are abusive and traumatic are so much a part of her. Like she has not done the work. And I don't think that she's interested in doing the work.
No, probably not.
And that's okay because she is an adult and that's her decision. She absolutely has the right to not want to work on herself and not dive into our relationship or her behaviors or abuses from our past. And that is fine. Thank God for therapy because I can absolutely accept that. I can absolutely say that I love my mother, but she cannot be a part of my life because it's not safe for me.
That's it. And that's it. And I think we have this idyllic fantasy of like what family quote should be and how it has to operate. And I don't necessarily believe that just because of the role that somebody plays in your life or the duration of time that they've been in your life does not warrant an all access pass. It's
don't
deeper
owe them.
No, it's deeper than that. Like, do we align on our values? Do we see each other for who we are? And do we love, honor, and respect it? Do you love, honor, and respect me in the same way that I love, honor, and respect myself? Because if you don't, then I do not have a place for you in my life. It doesn't mean that I don't care about you. It doesn't mean that I don't love you. It doesn't mean that I don't wish you well, but I'm going to have you do all those things over here. Over here. You know what I'm saying? And I have friends that I've had to let go of. I have family members that have had to let go of because my life seems trivial. My life is stupid. My life is meaningless. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I didn't fall in line. Oh, what a shame.
So what are you doing here then, Angela?
Yeah, like, oh, you're missing out. No, you're missing out on me. You're missing out on how awesome and loving and caring and genuine and fun I am as a person who could be in your life. But since you only want me to be a certain way and you want me to fulfill this role in a certain way, and if I don't tap dance the way that you want, I'm not welcome, get fucked. I'm out. I don't want to be there anyways. I don't want to be there anyways.
That part. So traditional family, you're not married, you don't have kids. Let's talk about these kids. Let's talk about these kids because everybody looks to women to procreate, to give life. If you are not, then what are you doing with yourself? With me working in skilled nursing facilities, I've had both sides of it to where I've, been building rapport with little old ladies and they've said, are you married? And I'll say no. They'll say, well, do you have kids? And I'll say no. And the follow-up question is, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? But I've
That's
also
such a
had,
yeah.
I've also had the other side where I will get asked, do you have kids? And I'll say no. And they'll say, good, don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I bet there's a whole bunch of like 80-year-old women who are like, live your life.
Yes, yes. They're like, don't do it. It's a racket. Then they'll tell me like my kids are just waiting on me to die so that they can collect the inheritance. They're like, they don't even come and visit me. And I have experienced a situation where there was a patient who was needing an ambulance and needing to get to the hospital, contacted the family, and they were like, don't send her. So that was my like experience of like, oh my gosh, like maybe they really do. Like they're waiting for their parent to pass for the money. But yeah, I don't want kids. And preface, I don't hate kids. People hear that and like, oh, you
no,
hate children.
fuck that, Kelly. I'm sorry. I'm gonna call you out. No, I hate kids, or I don't want kids. Period. That's it. That's the only part of the conversation. You don't need to justify it. Of like, I'm not a monster. I don't hate kids. No, I don't have to explain shit for shit. I don't want kids. Period. Done. Let it go. Let it go. There's no like, I don't need to justify that like I'm still a good caretaking person. I don't have to justify and show you that I like want to do emotional labor in other ways. I don't want kids. Period. Leave it there.
New exercise. I'm gonna
leave it there.
Leave it. Yes.
You know what I mean? Because that's us like still continuing to be like, I don't want kids, but I love kids. No, I don't actually. I find them annoying as hell.
Good kids.
Like I have to be in the mood to be around them. Like I don't wish kids like ill will. Like I think sometimes they're cool. Like I don't mind, but like I don't really want to be around them. And that's okay. That's okay. And I don't need to explain that or justify it.
New exercise. I like that. Don't explain it. Yeah, I don't want kids. And it comes from my mom. So my dad lives in Cleveland, Ohio, and we moved from Cleveland when I was like 7 or 8. And so it was me and my mom and my sister. And I just had way too much responsibility for caring for my sister. She's 13 months younger than me. And it was just like, I get that my mom was a single mom, but in hindsight, she is also a narcissist. And so everything was about her. And I was basically like her butler, she just take care of this. And I was so responsible for my sister. And I just cringe when I see that I'm the oldest. I cringe when I see that for other siblings who are the oldest or who are older and are responsible for younger siblings. My sister, she did not listen, doesn't listen to this day. And it just so taxing. I remember having like, you can call it like a mental breakdown, like 2 of them by the time I was 13, just the weight of. And because she didn't listen, did whatever she wanted, it turns out in her 30s, she found out that she's on the spectrum. But it's like, well, that very much was like me trying to fight with like both of my hands tied behind my back and balancing on one foot. It's like I had no skills to help raise a person who is autistic.
Yeah.
And so she has, her concrete thinking, and it was just so like so much labor, so much mental labor of constantly having to like be responsible for her. Where is she? If my, even in grocery stores, like, where's your sister? She would go off and do whatever she wanted, and it's like, you lost your sister? Like, I didn't lose her. This person who's 13 months younger than me is doing her feral cat thing like she always does. I don't know, like, but it was just so much responsibility. And just like, with society, I very much, well, if it's God's will, maybe one day. And then it just got to a point where it's like, no, that's not what I want. And my friends that I communicate with, I don't want to say all, but pretty much all of them are like, this shit is trash. It's expensive. It takes from your body. It drains, your energy. Your house always is a mess. And just, I can't go out if I just want to go out. I've got to find a babysitter, or, woes with either the husband or the child's father. And I'm just like, this looks like shit.
Yeah.
And I don't
look like a fun time.
Yeah. I'm like, this, I have never experienced someone just giving me a full mouth vomit, if you will, of how wonderful everything is.
Because it's not.
They go through this horrible explanation of parenthood, and then they're like, but it's the best job in the world. When are you going to have a kid?
No, you're trying to convince yourself with that shit. So let me, like, I think we're looking for women to, because we live in heteronormative relationships, heteronormative society. I think we're looking for women to tell us differently, because I think parenting can be really cool. I think parenting's got to be awesome. Motherhood sounds like a drag. I'd be a dad. If given the chance, I'd be a dad. So I think if we ask men how it is to be a parent, they're like, dude, it's fucking great. Because they don't do anything. They don't do it. Do you know what size shoes your kids wear? No, you fucking cuck. You don't. You don't understand. You don't know what your kids' teachers' names. You don't even know what grade they're in. Do you know what school they go to? Do you know what their allergies are? Who's their doctor? When's their dentist appointment? You don't know any of this. You just get to like wrestle with them in the living room and then like give them back to your wife to do the dirty work. I honestly, that sounds rad. I would love that. If all I had to do was like play, sign me up. Sign me up. But I think it's motherhood. The way that it exists in our society is impossible. And I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't hate men. I hate patriarchy. I don't hate parenting. I loathe motherhood and the roles in the ways that it's designed in our society. Can you understand the difference here? And I just think until those things change, then maybe my decisions will change. But I don't see them changing anytime soon. So I'm just going to be out here in my life, peaceful as a motherfucker, single, child-free, and enjoying what I can enjoy, because the other options seem really compromising to me. And I'm not willing to do that in my life at all.
And while I can't be a dad, I can be an aunt or an auntie because they get the same kind of fun. Oh, I'll play, I'll send some gifts, and then I give them back. And that is what I prefer, because when you have experienced raising a child with, all the things.
I've already raised my family. I have emotionally raised my mother, my grandmother, I've done this. I did it before I even understood what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? And I also think when we zoom out and we look at like family, right? Kind of what I was saying before. Family can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't need to be like a mommy and a daddy and you and me plus baby make three. Like a family can be a person. I'm my family. Me, one person is a family. You get to create that. And I think when we take agency in our life and we're like, you know what? The way that it's been told to me and the way that it's set up is very binary. It's very limiting. And it actually cuts you off from like this extended network of love and connection by thinking that family only exists in this capacity. If you zoom out and decide how you want to feel in your life amongst people, then you can create your family, and your family becomes like solid. It becomes expansive. It becomes the way that you need it to be for you. And you don't have to explain that to anybody. And to me, that feels so much freeing, so much more freeing than it does to like try and fit myself and confine myself into something versus, that doesn't work for me. So I'm going to go and redefine what it means to be over here. When people are like, oh, you're Angela, could you work because you don't have any kids? You don't have a family to go to. Fuck off. I am a family. I have a family. I am part of a family. I didn't birth one, but I am part of one. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I've decided that I am. I've created my family in this way amongst my people. Some of them are blood related. There's a difference between relatives and family, but family is supportive. Family is grounding. Family is loving. Family is safe, right? And I've created that in a way that works for me outside of whatever society has told me I should.
I love that. There's a difference between relative and family because there
100%.
so is. Like you get to choose your family.
You get to choose whatever you want.
Yeah.
You get to choose whatever you want. Like, who says that success in life is graduating from college, getting a job, getting married, having a kid, getting a house, and then what? Dying? That's it? That sounds awful.
Society
sounds
says that.
Yeah, that sounds like your life ends at 33. That's what that sounds like to me. So instead of measuring yourself up against someone else's plan that is very much rooted in capitalism, why don't you decide what feels like success for you? What if success is peace? What if success is joy? What if success is getting up every day and being like, whoa, this is what I get to do. Do you know? Success to me, I have a coloring book. It's a Dick coloring book, like a color Dicks. Success to me is before I go to bed every night, I get off my phone and I sit in my bed with my sound machines on and my fans because perimenopause, and I color Dicks. What a life. What a beautiful life that I have to be able to do that. You know, and that to me is success, is that nobody gets to tell me otherwise. You know?
And that sounds better to me than bath time and wrestling with getting kids down to sleep. And I often think like if I were enjoying a great movie, just had dinner, had some popcorn, maybe some wine, I just think
Why not?
how much it would piss me off to have a little person come down and be like, I peed on myself, I peed in the bed, or I'm hungry. And it's like, you're taking me out of my out of my vibe right here. And I know that there are so many women who experience that. And I feel for them. And I really feel for the ones who not only have the father of their kids in their life, but that they don't help. That they're like still essentially a single parent because
Then why did you marry them? Why are you with them?
society.
Why
They
are you
have to
not
be
holding
chosen.
them accountable? Like, he's not a sperm donor, he's the father. And this is what I'm saying. Fatherhood sounds rad. If I didn't have to do anything and someone gets to like take care of me, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. But unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? And I think again,
Basically get to continue with your life and get to
as is, as is. Yeah, but I mean, I invite anybody who's like in that situation to like, what do you want? And demand it. Ask for it. You are within every right to be like, I don't like this. I need this. And if the person refuses to give it to you, guess what? Fucking leave. It'll suck for a minute, but you know what won't suck? Having to put up with someone who doesn't respect you enough to give you what you need.
or care enough.
Or care enough.
Yeah.
Or willing to be comfortable enough. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, you're always in control of your life. You're always in control of who's in it. Even when people are like, but I can't, he's my husband. No. You can. You can have comfort or you can have growth, but you cannot have both. So you have to make the decision. Are you going to be comfortable in your own misery and your own suffering, complicit in it, because now that you've recognized it, or are you going to do the hard thing and go on that journey that's going to suck, but it's going to change you and it's going to release you and you're going to feel aligned and grounded and peaceful in your life? What do you want?
You're going to have to be uncomfortable in order for that to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's
And
the key to your mental health and your mental state. Like if you're living a life that doesn't feel right for you, where you constantly have to like settle and go without and feel frustrated and resentful, something's not right. Something's out of alignment, and you have every right to go on the journey to find it and start asking for it and demanding it for yourself.
but
100%.
but society and possibly the people that they surround themselves with, society encourages them to just suck it up. Just
Hmm.
shut up. Just and then the whole like what are they going to say? What are they going to think? And while I say I am single now, I am divorced. I got young when I got married when I was really young. And same thing for society. I mean, I honestly never wanted to be married. And that
Hmm.
blows people's mind, especially women, but I never wanted to be married. Same thing. I kind of looked around and I was just like, from what I'm seeing and the complaints and all that, and maybe it was because I didn't see a relationship that was like loving and healthy and all of that. That would make me think like, oh, that might be a good idea. But when I did get, and I've I've been married once, proposed to several times,
Love that. Get it,
but
girl.
you can say no. And
Yeah.
this my ex-husband, he proposed 3 times, and the people pleaser in me was just like, well, he keeps asking. And
But that can I just jump in? If you're
yeah.
in that situation where like someone's asking you to get married and you're like, I don't know, that immediately is that you guys are on two separate wavelengths. And that person wants something very specific that maybe you don't want. So it is not a fit. It's not a fit. And it's going to be hard to say goodbye because you can love someone very much and very deeply, but not have it be the right fit to create and build life together. Do you know what I mean? And that's okay. But if you're in that constant battle, and I think it's okay. It's okay if you're like, you know what? I'm going to let you go so that you can go and find the thing that you want. I wish you the best. I had to do that. I was in an 8-year relationship and I love him. To this day, I love him dearly. And we had some times that we went through together. 8 years. He wanted to get married. He wanted to have a wife. He lives in like Westchester. They have a beautiful house. They have a couple of kids. He wanted that. And he found someone to airdrop it in and marry. I was not her. And I could have. I remember being like, do I want to go? Like, I love him. Should I just compromise everything that I believe in order to go live this life? And I said, no. I said, no. And I love him dearly, but it just wasn't the right fit because we wanted two very different, completely different things, It's okay. It's
Well, I
okay.
can I can say from my experience, you did the right thing.
I know, yeah.
you
Like,
don't you don't
would
need
I
me to
love
tell you
living
that.
in that? Would I love living in that house that they have? Yeah, it's a nice ass house, but I know what I would have to have compromised within myself to make that happen. And I don't think there's enough antidepressants in the world that could have helped me manage through that.
And that is a very important statement, because those experiences or me going through, what I same thing, like that dread. I just didn't want to do it. But that lesson taught me to not compromise on those things going forward. Because, of
Yeah.
course, there are other situations and relationships, and it's just like that's not what I want. I've even had someone who did propose. I obviously didn't say yes, but they were so, and this is, and I know people, throw the term narcissist around, but if it's textbook and it's a
It
narcissist,
is.
then
We'll
it's
call it what it is. Shoe fits.
yeah, yeah. He literally described that he wanted to trap me. He was like, well, if you could just
Get
have a
pregnant.
baby with me,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, well, you don't even live in the same state. Like, you travel and work all the time. He was a self made millionaire. So if I was a gold digger, same thing. I would have had a beautiful house and all the things. But I'm just like, the vibe just isn't there. Like, you don't hear me. Like, I say these things that are important to me and you completely disregard them.
Yeah.
And then you
Run.
tell me this plan that you're like, oh, if you'll just have a baby with me. I'm like, well, who's taking care of the kid? Because I've already told you I don't want children. So am I gifting the child to you where you
Yeah,
would
why don't
raise
you
it?
adopt a baby on your own? If you really feel that hard pressed to have a child and raise something, go fucking adopt one, please. Like,
And
please.
he said, no, he said, you'll raise the kid. But he said, but I'll always have a connection to you that way. And I was like,
Yeah.
what kind of sick shit is that? Like, you would want to create life so you could always keep tabs on me for the rest of my life?
It's the most controlling shit I've ever heard in my life, but whatever.
Exactly. Exactly. And so for me to say no was just a total, how dare you? How could you not accept this offer? And it was offered many, 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 many times. And I'm just glad that through my life experience and therapy that I can actually stand in my truth and say, no, that is not something that I want. But we see it every day because there are people who marry athletes and celebrities, and there is no love or connection at
Look,
all. But it's
again,
like, let me secure this and let me get several children out of
if
it.
you want that, amazing. Amazing. Like, again, I'm not, if you want to have kids and you want to be in this and you want that life and you are okay doing this, and you've had a conversation with yourself around, is this really what I want? What is my life going to be? Does that work for me? Do I know who I am enough to make this decision? If you, like, again, please go live the life that you want. I'm not going to, that wouldn't work for me, but just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean that it doesn't work for somebody else. My life might seem tragic to somebody else, and that's fine. You don't have to live it. You don't have to live it. I do, and I love it.
And that's the therapized perspective.
I don't care.
Because you can
Go live your life.
you can speak your truth and not insult someone else, or at
Yeah.
least not speak from a space of, I'm trying to hurt you, I'm trying to troll, I'm trying to put
No,
digs. And I think that's
no.
something that, you definitely especially deal with on social media, because while you post content that is specifically for people who don't want children and are okay with that, mom life individuals will see that, and it's
Every day.
just like, they
Every
take
day.
such personal offense to it, as if you're posting it to hurt them or insult them.
Every day.
And what you
I
just
get
said is the answer to that. Like, if you want to do it, go for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And not in a condescending, like, oh, if that's what you want. Seriously, if it makes you happy and that's what you want, I know many people who are like, I want to be a mom. That's what I want.
Love that.
I love that and support them in that. I even call my house like the mom resort, where I will have my mom friends over, and I will just cater to them, because like,
What do
I
you mean?
know motherhood is a
Sucks.
hard job. That's why I
Yeah.
don't want to do it. But
Yeah.
you can come here. I will keep your glass.
Quiet, clean.
Yeah, quiet, clean. We can watch whatever you want to watch. Music. We'll
I
sit
won't
on
bother you. It's fine.
right. Whatever it is that you want. But not wanting children shouldn't be an insult to someone else. Like, mind your own business.
It's not.
Mind your own business.
It's not. And I don't understand. I would never, like, the amount of shit that I get in my inbox from women is shocking to me. Like, like, men are just whatever. That's so irrelevant to me and their opinions about my life. Like, I actually appreciate pissing you off. Thank you so much. But the amount that I get from women is shocking to me, and it breaks my heart, because I literally am not. I would never go on to like a mommy blogger's page or a woman who's showing her postpartum body, right? And I would never be like, so gross. What did you do to yourself? Why would you? I would never do that. I would never go on to a mommy blogger's page and be like, that sucks. Why are you doing this? Fuck the patriarchy. You gave it. I would look, I don't care. I'm not, and if you come across my page, you know what I do? I just swipe, because I know it's not for me. You talking about the struggles of motherhood, I might listen to learn, but it's not my place to interject myself in it. And I really wish that, and I think as single and child free women, I can only speak from my own perspective, but I think we're so used to backing away and like letting things be, because we just get so much shit, that it's not in our nature to push, and I wish that mindset and that ability was reversed, and I wish it was reciprocal. I don't wish any ill will. If you really want to have a baby and you love your life, like, I love that for you. I just want you to think the same way about me. And instead of looking at my life as like tragic and horrible, like, if that's what I chose, how can you support me in the same way that I support you? And that's it. And I wish there was more of that upholding, instead of the judgment and the hate and the resentment that is projected onto me. You know, I'm not doing anything to you. I'm not doing anything to you. I just want to live my life. And I have this platform because I want other women who are in this position to know that it's going to be okay. You know, like I'm heading into menopause, like shop's closed, y'all. Like this is it. We're not doing this. And if you're in your early 30s, your late 20s, your mid, whatever, I want you to know that it's okay. Like this is what life can look like. I have women in their 50s and into their 60s who I admire and I look up to because I see myself in them, and I want to know that I'm not going to die some like miserable spinster as the way that society has positioned it to be. No, I want other women to know, like, look, your life will have struggle. I am not free of struggle, I'll tell you that. But I do have a lot of things that I love. And if that aligns with you, here's what your life can look like. And that's okay. Just as the same way a mother wants to post about motherhood, people need to see themselves and they need to feel validated and they need to feel a sense of connection and that they're not weird and they're not wrong. And that's all that I'm trying to do in the same way that anybody else is, you know?
And I think it's not too much to ask to have people respect what it is that you're posting and either scroll past or stay on and learn something, but there's no need to contribute with negativity or nastiness because
that says more about you than it does about me.
Exactly. I really think it says more about the people who are posting it. And I think hurt dogs holler. And I think that if people may feel a certain way about their journey or the choices that they've made, whether it's regret or not really loving it like I thought I would, I think that people seeing others who are like, I chose differently and I didn't go along with what societal norms say that I should do. And I think that there can be a moment in some moms where it's like, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think that, not becoming a mother was an option.
Yeah. But hating on me for it is not the answer to is not the solution to your problems.
Not therapized.
Yeah. Yeah. Like go to therapy. Go to therapy. I think we should probably end it there. I do have to get going. So
Okay. Do you have time for the Kandid Konversation?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. Awesome. I said I feel like we could talk forever.
I know. It's like been 2 hours. Let's go.
Crazy. Okay. What is one word that your friends would use to describe you?
Intense. Intense. Yeah, I love intensely. I love fiercely. I experience life intensely. Like I don't do anything unintentionally. It's and if I do it, I'm committing to it. So like there's an energy that comes off as like strong and intense, and I mean it. And it's you feel it. You feel, and I don't think it's intense in like a bad way, like, yo, she's too much. No. It's just like, yo, Angela means business in what she's doing and the relationship she has and the stance that she takes. Even when she's resting, she fucking means it.
I thought of energy.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's all of that. There's like a force. Like I'm a force.
You are a force. Yeah. Okay, what if you could instantly master any sport or physical skill, what would it be and why?
Ooh, a sport?
A physical skill?
Oh, I would be better at drums immediately. I've taken lessons and I can drum, but I use that term very loosely. But I would be like a sick, nasty drummer if I could.
Yeah, I think that's so cool with the.
Yeah, it's so hard. I thought as an athlete, I would pick up the drums, no problem. Dude, it is the hardest fucking thing I've ever done and the most frustrating thing. And I am not good at it. And I struggle not being good at something, but it's really hard and it's challenging. And I'm like, yo, I'm never getting dementia because this shit is every foot, hand, is everything, every appendage is moving at a different rate and speed. It's so hard. So hard.
And fluctuates so much throughout the song. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I would, but that if I had the money right now, it's just not where I'm prioritizing my finances. And if I had the space for a drum kit, please, I would in a heartbeat. in a heartbeat, but I don't think my neighbors would appreciate Angela banging on the drums at all hours.
I hear you probably. I do take lessons and it's tough.
It's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard.
What is one activity or hobby you find most relaxing or beneficial for your brain?
Coloring dicks. Yeah, I think anything that is sort of tactile and kinesthetic is where I find peace, like drawing or coloring. Journaling, not so much, because then my brain's always moving, but I find just the relaxation of doodling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Uh,
Give those adult coloring books a try.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
before I go to bed, because if I'm on my phone, the last thing I see before I go to bed is like a swastika, and then I can't like go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm journaling, then I'm like in my head still. It allows me to just be like, nope, we're going to do something simply for the sake of doing it without it having like a meaning or a purpose, or it doesn't need to expand you. It doesn't need to grow you. Like you're literally coloring dicks. It's the most unserious shit you've ever done in your life. It's fine.
Yeah, I call it
Beautiful.
the wind down time.
Yeah, yeah.
Just that time where you don't have to think, analyze all the things.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the weirdest or most unexpected item in your bag or car right now?
Oh my God. Trying to think. Okay. All right, right now. All right. I have a pair of Chanel shoes that I did not buy, that were given to me from somebody, that do not fit. And I was like, I'm going to wear these. Dude, they don't fucking fit. Okay. And I've had them for like 10 years. All right. And they're in my car because I'm trying to bring them to a thrift store or like a consignment store to see if there's any money that I could get. And I'm like, Angela, why do you care? Who cares? You didn't even buy these things in the first place. Like, they're worth a lot of money, but I'm just like, just drop them off and like go with God. Like, just let it go. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So if there's no reason why I even have these or own these. I've never worn them. They do not fit. Yeah. What? They're in my car though. In my car.
Okay, that is unexpected.
So random, right? Like, what are you doing?
Right? With a pair of Chanel shoes.
Yeah, just traveling around like a bag of cashews in the back and my Chanel shoes. It's fine.
Okay, last question. What's your go-to guilty pleasure TV show, movie, or song?
Okay. All right. Guilty pleasure TV show. I'm obsessed, and it is such a like, oh, it's such a bad show, but I can't stop watching it. And I know that I am not necessarily the demographic for it, but I like am in it. It's Tyler Perry's Sisters. Have you seen this show?
I'm laughing because I haven't.
Okay. So
Okay, well, it must be good.
No, the acting is so fucking bad, and I'm not trying to like hate on anybody. And it's like I watch the show, and it's every woman on here is like a pick me, and everything revolves around men. These men are abusive, and it's like, but I love him, and I'm like, God, break up with him. The show would be so awesome if it was just like the four of y'all doing cool shit. It would have been great. But I'm in it now. Because it came on. Like, after you watch a show and you're not paying attention, the next show will just take over. So I don't know why this show, like, okay, came on, and I'm like, what is this? At first I was like, oh, maybe it's just like a little Sex in the City. Yeah, I thought it was what it was going to be like. And Sex in the City is insufferable. Insufferable. I loved it. And when I watch it now, I'm like, these women, like, girls, get it together. Get it together. This show's kind of like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I admittedly, shocker, I'm a millennial who did not watch Sex in the City.
Yeah, I don't think you're missing out on anything. I think it destroyed. Yeah, I think it destroyed our relationship with ourselves and focused our existence around men and dating. And like, look, who doesn't want to have more sex? I would love to have more sex, but not at the expense of all the other things. So Yeah, it's okay. So I don't think you're missing out on anything by not watching Sex and the City.
Mic drop. Well, I don't have any intentions on watching it, but I know that you have to scoot. But I
Yeah,
want to give people an opportunity to find you. How can people
please.
find you? I know that you have a wonderful event that's coming to North
Hey,
Carolina. I will be in attendance, so please tell people
yay!
about that, where they can find you, and then we'll wrap.
Absolutely. So you can find me on social media. TikTok is my social media of choice. I do hang out on Instagram, but I feel like the meta algorithm is meant to enrage you. So I try not to hang out there too much. But you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at the Angela Gentile, all one handle. Um, and yeah, when I went viral on social media, just for like talking shit about my single child free life, I realized there are so many people like me. I'm not the weirdo. I'm not alone. And I inadvertently and accidentally created this single child free community. We have a private group. You can also access that. The link is in my bio. It's on my website, theangelagentile.com. And I'm starting to do meetups. This is like a happy accident. This is not my job. This is not what I do, but I was like, yo, how cool. So I'm starting to do like in-person meetups of single child free people around the country. And we had the first like kickoff soft launch in Boston, and there were 15 women. And I'm telling you, when you go to an event and you just find like one person, you're like, oh, they were cool. No bullshit. On my father, like I swear, every single woman was awesome. Every single woman was so cool. And I felt like I was looking at like myself. I saw myself like we saw each other. And we were talking about gardening and, our degrees and like the world and what we're cooking and what we're doing and what we're excited about and redecorating. And none of it revolved around finding a man or a partner. And to me, that's the most freeing shit. And I'm not saying that I don't ever want to, I don't care. If it happens, it happens. But I'm more concerned about living my life right now and controlling what I can control, which is building these dope relationships with women who see me, who honor me, who understand me. And yeah, it was rad. So I'm coming to North Carolina, and it is called Upcycling with sinks, and we are going to do some crafting, some upcycling, some hands-on activities, and drink wine and eat charcuterie. Here's the caveat though, you got to bring anything because it's all about sustainability. So we're not doing any paper cups, any throwaway things. You have to bring anything but a cup. So if you've seen those parties where people are drinking out of things, out of canisters, out of flower pots, out of whatever, you have to bring anything but a cup, and there will be prizes given to the most creative anything but a cup. And it's just a fun way to connect. And if you're in North Carolina and you feel like you can't find your tribe, come on through. And I'll be doing some other like pop-up events as my work schedule allows. So yeah, that's where you can find me, and that's what I got going on.
I
Boom.
love that. I love that. Quickly, will you tell the listeners what are sinks and dinks?
Single income, no kids, or I like to say single independent, no kids. But however you want to, how
And
do
it
you
won't make
want to
sense.
say it? Yeah. And then a dink is double income, no kids. And that's cool because you got like double the income, double the fun, super size in the fries in your life. But if you don't have that, like it's okay too. It's okay to be single and independent, and like doing this life alone is its own beast, and it's hard in its own way, and sometimes that gets overlooked in a society where everything is built around partnership. So it's important to me to talk about that and to create community amongst women and people who are also doing this life alone,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, cheers to the sinks life.
Yeah,
And just really being okay with it, like truly being happy, not like, oh yeah, I'm single and it is what it is, but like, but when that man comes, so like if
no,
if
that's
the man comes, like just enjoy your life, period.
yeah. I think like that's the point of this group. Like, you look, if you want to get married and you want to find a partner and you do want to have children and you want to go down, like I love that for you. In the meantime, It doesn't mean that your life is meaningful or meaningless or stupid or foolish. And you like, how dare you sit around and twiddle your thumbs waiting for it to happen? Like, you can find joy, whether this is like a permanent residency, like me, or a temporary stopover for when or if. But either way, if you're here now, there is meaning and there is joy to be had. Period.
And relinquish that control. Like, if
Yeah.
it happens, it'll happen. Let it happen. Even down to like what it is that you use in your house. I have a patient who is in her 80s and she's like, "Oh, I'm setting out like my wedding china." And I asked, like, "What's the occasion?" And she was like, "It's Tuesday."
I
And
love her.
she's like, "Use
Love her.
your nice stuff." She's like, "The next step is for her to be dead." And she was
Yeah.
like, "I'm going to use my nice stuff. Otherwise, it's going to be
Yep.
collecting dust and my kids are going to get it." So I'm like, yeah, like even down to towels, cups, like, oh, it's just me. I use all my glasses now. I use all my
Yeah.
towels. Like, use your
Listen,
stuff, live your life, be
when
happy.
people are like, oh, where am I wearing that to? The fucking grocery store. Put it on and a stomp all over the city and put on an outfit and feel like a fucking bad bitch. Please.
Yes,
Please.
yes, yes.
You know?
Mic drop, mic drop.
That's the title of the episode. Put on your outfit and feel like a bad bitch.
Yes, there you go.
Thank
Well,
you so much
you.
for having me. And
Yes,
anybody
thank
who's
you.
listening, if anything I said like sparked you and you're like, oh my God, I feel seen and heard, like, please come on into the community. Please come on into the group. Please show up at one of the meetups. And I see you.
Fine.
Yeah,
Yes.
water's great. I see you. I love you. And there's a place for you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. This has been a fantastic Candid conversation.
Woo!
I look forward to many more, and I can't wait to see you in Durham.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Woo! I told you we got candid. A huge thank you to Angela Gentile for showing up with honesty, depth, and zero filter, just how we like it here. But guess what? The conversation didn't stop there. For the even more candid, unfiltered talk, head over to my Patreon. Angela and I kept it rolling behind the scenes, and you don't want to miss what we shared. So, if you're ready for the real, join my Patreon family to hear more exclusive content, bonus episodes, and conversations that go even deeper. Your support helps keep this podcast going and helps us continue raising awareness and building community through truth. Catch you next time. And as always, keep it candid.